Ladies and gentlemen, we are looking at Sandbox 2.2 details, and yes, I'm excited. We've got some news on Season of the Drifter, as well as some sandbox changes hitting us in 2.2. Got some nerfs coming to certain exotics, as well as a range nerf to shotguns. Fellas, let's dive into this. First up, let's talk sandbox details on what's happening. By the way, you can expect these changes to be hitting us on March the 5th. So first up, we're taking a look at linear fusion rifles. They state that these energy weapons have dominated Gambit for quite some time. Yes, they have, especially here on console. First came Sleeper Simulants, then came the Queenbreaker. We've made them less forgiving so we can enjoy a change of pace. So linear fusion rifle aim assist values will receive an adjustment to reduce effectiveness at very long ranges. While Queenbreaker has high aim assist values by default, we discovered an issue where it was not honoring aim assist values that applied to other linear fusion rifles of the same archetype. This resulted in Queenbreaker having over double the intended aim assists. You think? My god, man, Queenbreaker alone has like ruined Gambit for me. Thank god this is being taken care of, especially considering that Joker's Wild is going to be revolving all around Gambit. Linear fusion rifles will receive a 10% damage increase in PvE to compensate for the above changes. Alright, that sounds great. I'm a huge fan of this, boys. I don't know how it is for PC. I just know that linear fusion rifles, specifically just Queenbreaker, was a little out of hand. So I'm super happy to see that they're dialing back on this. Now moving on to shotguns. They state that in Season of the Drifter, we're making a few changes to rapid fire shotguns and the full auto perk. We're doing this for a few reasons. One of them being that full auto perk feels far too important to shotguns in PvE. This perk effectively doubles the damage output of any given shotgun due to the rate of fire increase. While we believe it is important to have useful perks on your weapons, the efficiency of this was so impactful that rapid fire shotguns became the only shotguns worth considering for PvE. Yeah, that's pretty much all I use, guys. Threat level and Ikelos. When the following changes release in Season of the Drifter, we hope you might be inspired to equip an aggressive shotgun or maybe even take a slug shotgun for a spin in PvE activity. So right off the bat, guys, shotguns will receive a damage multiplier in PvE activities, effectively doubling their damage. Legend of Accuracy, though, is an exception to this. Full auto rate of fire bonus for shotguns is now 10%, down from 100%. Oh wow, that's substantial, boys. In addition, it no longer increases the shotgun pellet spread. Either way it goes, that full auto rate of fire bonus being decreased now to 10%, that's a big one. Now they go on to show that they're actually changing the rounds per minute for many of our shotguns. So aggressives will now be shooting at 55 rounds per minute, up from 45. Precisions are now 70, up from 55. Lightweights are 80 rounds per minute. It actually states that this is going to stay the same. It just previously was reporting 90 round per minute, but that was an error. Rapid fires will now be shooting at 140 rounds per minute, which is down from 200 rounds per minute. This one's actually pretty interesting here. They said that previously, natively, it was at 100 rounds per minute, but due to its intrinsic full auto, it actually had 200 rounds per minute. Regardless, guys, pretty significant nerf here to rapid fire shotguns. They also reduced base damage for shotguns across the board to align their new rates of fire on a per sub archetype basis. Ammo reserves for shotguns were reevaluated due to the increased efficiency of having more damage per shot. Either way it goes, guys, the meta for shotguns in PvE could definitely turn in the favor of something like Toil and Trouble. Like immediately after reading this, I'm thinking like Toil and Trouble, the God rolled there from like the Nightfall edition from last season, or maybe one with like Field Prep or something with the pendant mag. I don't know. There's a lot of different combinations that we can go with here, but I'm thinking an aggressive shotgun is going to be the way to go there. Now they go on to say that they've actually took the opportunity to slightly adjust shotguns for Crucible. They state that while shotguns will remain effective in the Crucible, we have toned down the range at which shotguns could secure a one-shot kill. Now, they state that they slightly adjusted this. I really don't know, guys. It could be anything. I know right now, consistent one-hit kill ranges is 9 meters with the right roll on your shotgun. So if they tone it down to 8 meters, I don't think you're going to see that big of a difference. If they tone it down to 7 meters, I definitely think we can start seeing the differences there, especially in many of your engagements if you're used to that 9-meter kill range. Now, moving on. OneEyed Mask. We knew that this exotic was going to get nerfed. They already announced that they were going to nerf it in some way. The biggest concern for all of our Titan mains out there, we were concerned that OneEyed Mask was just going to be destroyed. Luckily for us, that is not the case. Shout out to Bungie, man, for actually making an appropriate nerf here that is not going to outright destroy this exotic. They go on to state that the duration of Mark of Vengeance has been reduced from 15 seconds to 8 seconds. Excellent. Previously, we actually said that that's probably what needed to happen. Just reduce the time frame of Mark of Vengeance by half. The way players refill health after a successful kill has now changed. Before, it restored all of your health and the overshield refilled over time. Now, the health refills over time alongside the overshield. This should give a leg up when encountering situations where multiple people are fighting one person with the one-eye mask equipped. The main thing about this, guys, what this is actually telling you is, yes, you will still get health and an overshield back upon landing a kill with Mark of Vengeance activated. But if you are in a team engagement, if you are engaging with that opponent, even if they get the kill, they will not have immediate health back if you're consistently popping some level of damage into them, which is the best way to counter one-eye mask after this update. Long story short, boys, just be overly aggressive when going up against a one-eye mask titan. Now, they go on to say that Vengeance will no longer trigger for players in supers. This was making supers far too potent. All right then. So there you have it, guys. One-eye mask, yes, it's getting a nerf, but I think it's still going to be a very good exotic. Still one of the best. The nerf here still allows for this exotic to be utilized, but at the same time offers some level of counterplay, which is really what you want for all of our exotics. Now, moving on to Gambit. As you know, guys, Season of the Drifter is well on its way. March 5th is when it's supposed to hit, and they have made some changes to Gambit. I will say this, Gambit is a fickle woman. Some days, she's just perfect. You get the best of the best games, you feel good, you leave feeling fulfilled, and then other days, you just question reality, right? But senior designer Robbie Stevens here states that as we build on the Gambit theme in Season of the Drifter, we want to make sure to address some of the top feedback items for the base activity. Below is a sneak peek of changes we've made based on the community's feedback. Expect more details and additional quality of life changes for Gambit when Season of the Drifter drops on March the 5th. They changed the third round of Gambit to a Primeval Rush Sudden Death. This will speed up Gambit matches overall and add a change of pace to the final round. Oh, that's juicy, man. I wonder what that Sudden Death round is going to be. Like, do you just come in and there's a Primeval already sitting there waiting for you? Now, next up, they overhauled how we choose the invader spawn location and increase the number of invader spawn points for each map. This should greatly reduce the chances of spawning very near or in direct line of sight of enemy guardians. You know, there's kind of like pros and cons to this. I don't think I ever had any huge problems with getting a kill as an invader, considering you have like infinite wall hacks. But at the same time, with them toning down Queenbreaker's bow, people are gonna actually have to start using their thumbs to get kills. Yeah, it's a good trade-off. Implement an idle protection, which means that players that remain dormant for too long will not receive end of the match rewards or infamy points. Oh boy, how do we define idle? Hopefully that doesn't mean just standing still for just a second, you know what I mean? It sucked to miss out on some loot. The Triumph Light versus Light can now be progressed by killing any guardian using a super, not just invaders. This makes obtaining the Dragon title a less daunting task. For those out there still trying to get that title, this is wonderful news for you. And they go on to state that there was adjustments to blocker types by deposit tier. Small blocker, taking Goblin with less health than the previous Phalanx. Medium blocker, taking Captain with more health than the previous Knight. And a large blocker, taking Knight with more health than the previous Ogre. That's interesting. So they actually toned down small blocker, but increased medium and large blockers' health pools. Okay, now we're gonna have more people hanging on to 15 moats. Sounds like it should be fun. Now, all of these changes won't actually hit until March the 5th, but they are offering a triple infamy week, which starts on February 26th through March the 5th. So if you guys are still trying to get up your rank inside of Gambit, feel free to jump on that one. Well, guys, that's pretty much everything. There's a couple little small changes in terms of like bug reports and bug fixes, some Triumph stuff. Feel free to check that out, guys. The TWAB link is below. I'm personally excited to play this, guys. I'm a huge fan of Gambit. I really am. And I know we're getting Thorn back with this next season. I'm also interested to know what pinnacle weapons we're going to get. Comment down below if you have any news on that one, guys. I would love to know if we're going to get a refresh of pinnacle weapons for Season of the Drifter. Well, guys, that is Sandbox Update 2.2.0. Shout out to my Patreon supporters, by the way. I know some of them were messaging me here recently and asking me if I was going to keep making Destiny videos. You know it, man. That shouldn't be a question. If at any moment you think I'm gonna quit making Destiny videos, just remember, I made Destiny videos for all of D2 Year 1. If I didn't quit then, I'm never gonna quit. Well, fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.